Hello and welcome. It's 12 on a Monday, start of a brand new week, or what's shaping up to be a wet week here in the Federal Capital. Professor Emerita Dr. Sharifah Hapsah, President, National Council of Women's Organization. She joins me later on the show. She talks about menstrual leave or period leave. I'm Gerard Ratnam. This is Monday's edition of The Brief. Now, let's take a look at today's feature. More and more companies are answering the call to provide period leave, yet some critics remain skeptical. The question is, will this debate about menstrual leave or period leave bring us closer to its implementation? Joining me is Professor Emerita Dr. Sharifah Hapsah, President of the National Council of Women's Organization, to talk about menstrual leave. Tansri, thank you very much for doing this. What are your thoughts on the idea put forward for menstrual leave? Is it a yay or nay for you, and why?
I'm leaning towards a nay if it is, if we are going to give it routinely as part of a policy. My reason is, okay, number one, I think dysmenorrhea or period pain is not a disease that requires MC. The severe cramps can go away with treatment and usually disappears after the first pregnancy. So it's a temporary problem. Number two, I think more than 80% of the women who suffer from it can be relieved with analgesics, and some of this can be bought over the counter. And with pain relief, most of the women can go about their daily duties again. And, you know, I'm talking from experience, not from theory, okay?
Right.
Now, if
right.
pain is severe,
here's the thing that's
intolerable.
Right. I can't talk from experience, but when I read about dysmenorrhea, what I learn is, and I grew up with 5 girls, I'll put this in just as a little bit of information there. Dysmenorrhea or period pain, as you grow older, the pain sort of becomes lesser, or it starts to go away. Is there any truth to this?
Yes. And even with the pregnancy, most women will tell you that. But if the pain persists, is very severe, is intolerable, or flow is excessive, I think the woman should be investigated to rule out secondary causes, because they may have underlying problems. We have like fibroids or endometriosis, and this can be treated medically or surgically. So we must not let menstrual leave, the issue of menstrual leave, camouflage underlying reasons or problems a woman may have. So, well, another reason I think is MC should be left to the attending doctor. It should not be left to policies. You know, the doctor should decide whether the woman deserves the MC. And if you do it routinely, give everyone MC leave, then this can be abused. Now, I think some people raise the issue of rights. If you're talking about rights, then I believe the right should be the right of the woman to be given medical attention and other reproductive health rights. Not an MC as a right to be absent from work because of menstrual pain. I think there's a difference between this if you view it from the rights point of view. I think it's good we have this discussion. At least we bring to the fore issues about the rights of women, you know, reproductive health rights and so on. There are other issues related to this, not just menstrual pain, you know, and women are still fighting for reproductive rights. Right.
But if you look at it, Indonesia, correct me if I'm wrong here, Indonesia has started this in about 2003, where they give you the first 2 days off when you have your menstrual cycle. I might be wrong. Now, what's happened in Spain is rippling through the rest of the world. And when you say what you said you are not for this idea. What are women groups telling you? What are they saying with you coming up with a statement like this?
I'm not saying I'm not saying no. I say I'm leaning to no if it's just to routine. But I think if we are going to do something about it, I think we should come to the table. Everybody must be consulted. Employers, employees, the medical profession, women NGOs. We should all be consulted because there are implications. It's not just implications to these people, but the implications will be in terms of cost, efficiency, productivity, and also implication to our struggle for gender equality. You know, we don't want to perpetuate the misconception that women are weak and they are a risk, a work risk or employment risk. And also this can be abused. We want to avoid all this. I think we should sit down and discuss properly. And if you say, okay, Indonesia has done, Spain is considering, Korea has done, Russia a long time ago did it, even Japan. But we should find out, why did they do it? So we should actually study, get feedback from these countries, because as I understand, even in the countries that have this policy, the uptake by women is decreasing. You know, more and more women are not taking the leave. So something is happening. What's happening? So I think we should find out first before we embark on a venture like this, so that we don't regret later, you know, or women don't suffer because of this. The equality part doesn't suffer, yeah?
Right.
So I think there's
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in. We've got 2 minutes left. I'm going to jump in. I want to dial back a little bit. And sorry, I'm not following the list of questions that I have, because I think this conversation is now moving to another area. You said we need to have a conversation. Who essentially needs to be in this conversation? Yeah. You know, we've got many different stakeholders, of course, the Rakyat being one of them. Who are the main actors in this, and who should sit down and talk about this?
Yeah, I think the employers federation would be one. I think the trade unions, because they would speak for the workers. I'm sure they have a lot to say about this, and I'm sure the employers have a lot to say. And I think we should consult the medical profession very widely and very deeply, and get their views on this. You know, I think they hold the same view. If it's very severe, I think people should be investigated. Women should be investigated, and we should rule out underlying causes. And if they're really not treatable with the analgesics, then perhaps the doctor, they go to see the doctor can then give them the MC. I don't think women, their right is, do not prevent them from getting medical attention. I think that's the right we must protect, rather than the right of giving just MC leave to anybody. You know, is it paid, unpaid? We are still not clear about this, you know. So I think before I say yes, I don't want to jump and say yes. Even if it's a yes, it's with conditions. Even if it's a no, it's still conditional. We need to study a little bit more.
Right. Tan Sri, thank you very much for this. We're definitely going to bring you in for a longer conversation. That this conversation needs to be had as soon as possible. Thank you very much, Tan Sri Professor Emerita, Tan Sri Dr. Sharifah Hapsah, President of the National Council of Women's Organization, or NCWO, talking to us about menstrual leave.